What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got a sweet Brawl list for you guys. We're in a standard Brawl, looking at Golgari list based around Chevill, Bane of Monsters. So Chevill is a 1/3 for 2 mana, and obviously for commanders, the cheaper they are, the better they usually are, because it's much easier to recast them multiple times, because it's obviously your opponent's going to tend to prioritize removing them, whatever your commander is, and so the cheaper it is, generally the better. Alright, so just to go over again what Chevill does, it's a 1/3 with Deathtouch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if opponents control no permanents with bounty counters on them, you get to put a bounty counter on a creature or planeswalker they control. And whenever a permanent dies with a bounty counter on it, we gain 3 life and we draw a card. So it's a nice kind of a card value engine, and could put your opponent in some pretty tricky spots as far as like blocking and things like that. Especially if we're running multiple Deathtouch creatures, it's going to make things a little bit challenging. And of course, Golgari gives you access to plenty of good removal spells as well. So yeah, we're in a pretty good spot to kind of kill your opponent's permanents, creatures, or planeswalkers, and make sure we're getting some value there with the card draw and the life gain. So kind of a standard Golgari list, just running a lot of the good stuff here in the green and black colors. With kind of a Deathtouch sub-theme as well, based around Chevill. So we got the Knight of the Ebon Legion, which can gain Deathtouch, of course, and just a powerful 1-drop. The Vampire of the Dire Moon, Deathtouch, and Lifelink is pretty sweet. The Chainweb Aracnir, just kind of an underrated card, I think, a 1/2 reach for 1 mana that fights flyer on your opponent's side, and it has escape for 5 mana. Comes back with 3 +1/+1 counters, is pretty cool. Moss Viper, just a 1/1 Deathtouch. Obviously, there's multiple of these, but just pick whichever one you like. I don't think you need to run both. I think just a 1/1 Deathtouch for one isn't really anything amazing, but having one of them is certainly, I think, the way to go. One Agonizing Remorse, just a little bit of hand or graveyard hate, as we can look at our opponent's hand and choose a card or from their hand or their graveyard and exile that. Blacklance Paragon, the flash with Deathtouch and Lifelink is pretty cool. Obviously, we do have the Knight of Ebon Legion. That synergizes with the Knight as well, along with a couple other cards, so it works pretty well as a removal, or just a 3/1 that you can kind of flash in on your opponent's end step and then attack them with it. Of course, the Orzhov Enforcer has Deathtouch, and Afterlife 1 is pretty cool. Destiny Spinner, it's 2/3 for 2 mana, and says all creature and enchantment spells you control can be countered. So if somebody is running like a kind of a control deck, Destiny Spinner gives us a little bit of protection from at least having our creatures countered. The Kraul Harpooner is another way to kind of deal with flyers, 3/2 reach, and when it enters the battlefield, it can fight a flyer on our opponent's side of the board, and of course it gets +X/+0, where X is equal to our creature cards in our graveyard. Paradise Druid is a fantastic card all around, with the hexproof, and then be able to ramp us to play spells a turn early. Assassin Trophy, just a fantastic versatile removal spell in the singleton format. Just in general, having flexible answers in the singleton format is extremely valuable. So even though your opponent does get a land, just being able to hit any permanent on your opponent's side is fantastic. Find out to either get some of our creatures back in hand or act as kind of a 6 mana board wipe, and potentially buffing up one of our creatures at the same time. Grimdancer, of course, the 3/3 for 3 that can have Menace, Deathtouch, and a Lifelink is pretty fantastic. Hunted Nightmare is a 4/5 with Menace, which is pretty sweet. However, we do give our opponent the option to put a Deathtouch counter on one of their creatures. However, since we are running so much removal here in our Golgari colors, and we have Deathtouch of our own, we can generally get rid of that creature. So that's pretty sweet. So it's another reason why we're not running, say, a card like a Heartless Act, because Chevill is putting counters on it, and Hunted Nightmare and things like that. So we want to make sure that Heartless Act just doesn't really work in those situations, so that's why we're not running it. Midnight Reaper, of course, fantastic card draw engine and just a nice 3/2 creature. Also a Knight. Murder, just a nice removal spell. And of course, Murderous Rider. It's fantastic for creatures or planeswalkers. Nixilis Cruelty works pretty fantastic as well. Instant speed, -5/-5. And that creature gets exiled, so that's pretty cool. Thrashing Brontodon is a nice 3/4 body that can destroy artifacts or enchantments. Mechagodzilla or Crystalline Giant, just fantastic 3/3 for 3 mana that fits into pretty much any deck, and gets all these different keyword ability counters at the beginning of our combat steps. So that's pretty sweet. Dirge Bat, just fantastic, a 3/3 flash flyer, and if we mutate onto it, we can destroy a creature or a planeswalker, I should say. Eat to Extinction, just fantastic for exile removal on creatures and planeswalkers. Price of Fame works extremely well in this format because you're going to be running up against lots of legendary creatures, be they commanders or just other spells in your opponent's deck. And so most times it's just going to be a 2-mana removal spell, instant speed, and Surveil too, so that's pretty sweet. Of course, Gemrazer, another way for us to kind of trigger a mutation and to deal with artifacts and enchantments on your opponent's side, and just having a 4/4 with reach and trample is pretty sweet. Questing Beast, of course, is just a house. Shifting Ceratops with the protection from blue can't be countered, works against a lot of decks. And being able to give it reach, trample, or haste makes it very versatile. And of course, Palukranos fits into any Golgari list, really. It's a 4-mana 6/6 that can fight creatures on your opponent's side, and then can escape for 6 mana and come back as a 12/12. It's pretty hard to deal with for a lot of decks. And then Vraska, just a fantastic value engine to destroy non-land permanents on your opponent's side for 3 mana or less. And then if you flood out or have some smaller creatures that aren't really doing much for you anymore, you can just sacrifice them to gain life and draw cards. And of course the Cavalier of Night, another way to kind of kill creatures on your opponent's side. And of course if they remove it, you get one of your creatures back. And the lifelink is pretty fantastic as well. Cavalier of Thorns is also just a fantastic card, 5/6 reach. And we get to put a land card onto the battlefield, and then when it dies, we can exile it and then get one of our cards back from our graveyard back on top of our library, so we know what we're going to be drawing on our next turn. And Vivian, just a fantastic value engine here to keep putting beasts out onto the battlefield. And if we cast a creature spell, we can -2 and get another creature out as well. And also running Liliana. Of course, she's fantastic for also putting creature tokens out as well. But you can also -4 to make your opponent sacrifice creatures, so it gets around hexproof and things like that. Then, of course, the card draw engine is pretty sweet on Liliana, so it makes her so damn good. And Kogla, the 7/6 legendary that fights a creature on our opponent's side. It's pretty sweet. And then when it attacks, we can destroy an artifact or enchantment on your opponent's side. So just kind of the overall flexibility of Kogla makes this really great in a singleton format. And finally, Garrick. It's a 6-mana planeswalker that can either make 2/2 wolf tokens, or we can -3 to destroy a creature and draw a card. So just another really great option here in a singleton format with that flexibility to either make creatures or destroy any creature and draw a card is really sweet. And of course we are running plenty of creatures, so if we do get to the -6, they all get +3/+3 and trample, which should end most games. Alright, so of course we're running the Castle Locthwain, 8 Swamps, 9 Forest, the Guildgate, Jungle Hollow, Overgrown Tomb, Temple of Malady, Bonder's Enclave, because we do have a decent number of larger creatures. Of course, Command Tower is a must in any multicolored Brawl type deck, and then of course one Fabled Passage for a little bit of fixing. And yeah, so that's pretty much the deck. If there's anything else you would run in, let me know what inclusions you would make in a deck like this with Chevill as your commander. And of course let me know what commanders you're running, or if there's anything you want me to build around. So we'll go ahead and jump into some matches and kind of see how the deck does. Since the Brawl Hall is free to play for at least a few more weeks. Alright, right away we're up against Teysa Karlov. So this is probably going to be kind of a afterlife, grindy, lots of removal. If one of these lands was a forest, I would probably keep based off the Destiny Spinner, but double black. Alright, so now we have too much green, but we just have the Overgrown Tomb, so it's a little slow, but I think we can keep it. We can drop our Chevill on 2 into Mecha Godzilla, into Vraska and Vivian, so we can at least curve out. And no 1-drop from our opponent. Oligarch. 2/1 Vigilance. Go ahead and drop our Chevill. And now we can choose between the Brontodon or the Crystalline Giant. Probably want to save Brontodon because they're undoubtedly going to have Banishing Lights, Conclave Tribunals, and things like that. Okay, they just go for the Enforcer. What do I want to deal with first? Probably want to deal with the Deathtouch. It's going to be an issue. And kill that with Vraska next turn. They're going to get a 1/1 flyer, but it's alright. No good attack, so certain matchups and certain hands allow you to be more aggressive, but generally you're going to be more of a Golgari, grindy style games. So if that's your thing, then this deck is going to work pretty well for you. And they go for the Crystalline Giant, sure. So we have the Brontodon to deal with that at some point, but probably just go for the Vraska. Draw another card and get the Deathtouch creature off the board.
Your demise won't be quick.
You get a 1/1 flyer that can finish off Vraska, but that's alright.
Have been allies.
So if we can get these Planeswalkers down, we should have a decent chance here. To go for Vraska, so she did her job. Okay, we can kill the Oligarch, but of course they're going to get the Teysa triggers. I think that's fine though. We just need to kind of deal with these creatures as we can. And just let them have their triggers and just find ways to deal with it, grind through it. I'll target that Teysa. So we can Garrick here. Oh wait, we're at 5, actually we cannot. Vivian, gotta turn ahead of myself there. We can eat to Extinction just to get the Teysa off the board. They are down to 2 cards, so that's probably not a bad spot. We're not in a rush to get this Crystalline Giant back, so of course we can play Vivian and just get a 3/3 with Reach. I think we just want to slow them down and just get the Teysa off the board. So obviously I can choose to put that back into the command zone. Cavalier is fine. Give us Reach to deal with some of these flyers. They can triple block and kill Chevill. We can only kill 1. They probably don't do it, but getting for 1 damage isn't really too valuable. So this is kind of one of those situations where you just kind of have to be patient and grind it out. So they just spend all their mana replaying Teysa. Alright, so now we can Garrick. And then it's going to die. Cavalier is probably the safer bet, but they're definitely going to have some removal. Maybe we just go Vivian here, and then put a 3/3 with Reach out. And if they have removal, then they'll kind of have to see if it's creature or planeswalker based. So unless they find some card draw here, we should be in a good shape. Nightmare Shepherd is pretty good. And crash through and take out get Vivian down to 2. And lose one of their tokens. These decks usually don't run any kind of combat tricks, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about that. Of course, Teysa gives them lifelink, so there's no downside really for them to attack. And Vigilance.
Nothing a poultice can't heal.
We'll have the Nightmare Shepherd that can swing in next turn. So we probably want to get this... Pelucranos is nice. Okay, play our land. So obviously... We just want to keep making Reach. Beasts with Reach. And just set up our defenses here, and we can kind of grind them out in Golgari fashion. Obviously, these decks always run board wipes too, so that's something we have to consider. But yeah, I think we just go for the Cavalier. Pelucranos does go to the graveyard, but we can escape it. And since we have plenty of good cards in hand, we're not really too worried about losing that. And of course, we'd also get the additional cards in our graveyard to escape. And we have mana left over to play Brontodon, which I think is fine. Just having bodies on the board. And then next turn we can probably 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 8 mana. Okay, so they do deal with our Brontodon. That's unfortunate. Still have other ways to deal with their Conclave Tribunal, and getting our Crystalline Giant back is the most critical thing. I think having Vivian on the board is probably the best thing for us right now. Deal with all these spirit tokens, and they don't have good attacks anymore with our Reach. Okay, they go for it anyway. Well, we're gonna block all these, and we'll take. I think we'll block Tesa there too. We have Deathtouch. Nightmare Shepherd is down. Tesa goes back to the command zone. Is now really expensive. Kaya's Wrath. Okay, we can put that in the command zone, of course. We'll lose our tokens, which were kind of free anyway. And we can get any card we want back. Brontodon. Vraska is decent as well for the card dungeon, but we do have Garrett coming down. Pelucnos we can always escape. These kind of creatures or whatever. Eat to Extinction is pretty decent, but let's just go with the Brontodon, I think. So we knew the Kaya's Wrath was coming, so that's fine. So we can play Brontodon and get a... let's see, what do we have? So if we play you... Yeah, we still have 4 mana to Chevill, but not enough to give our Ceratops haste. We can get a 3-drop out with it. But I think I'd rather just make additional tokens. So we'll go ahead and give it haste. Attack in for 5. Getting a ton of life with all those Tesa tokens, but that's fine. We'll still go with Reach. And I guess we'll play our Brontodon just to use up all of our mana. I mean, they're in top deck mode, so we're not really too worried about it. Obviously, they are running Shatter the Sky as well, and maybe even Ritual of Soot, but we have plenty of tools to kind of grind them out. I mean, Birth of Meletis at this stage of the game is pretty lackluster. They're going to get a 0-4 wall. Kogla coming down here is pretty sweet. Alright, let's just attack all. And I think we just Chevill for 4. Make another token. And pass the turn.
I'd like you to meet my friend, Stompy.
So here we can choose to blow up the Conclave or the Artifact Wall with our Brontodon, since it does stop our 3/3s. But our opponent's not really in a good spot here. Kaya's Wrath was kind of the one thing that was one thing they were hoping to be their saving grace, but I mean, we just built right back thanks to Vivian and Chevill being cheap to cast. Alright, so they do get to blow up 3 of our creatures. Do we want our giant, or we just get rid of that wall, so just make sure we can get through for damage. Sure. So again, they're spending resources just to deal with creatures we've gotten for free, so we're fine with that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get our Garrick online to make tokens. And the more removal and board wipes they have, the better it is for us. Yeah, let's keep giving them reach. And
We will adapt to any.
pass the turn. We can flash in this Paragon on their end step. Seraph is pretty good. Kogla can fight that. Garrick can kill it as well. So yeah, we're not too worried about that. Go ahead and flash in our Blacklance. Use it offensively. Gonna put a counter. We can cast Kogla. And ooh, Questing Beast is good too. Can we do both? Yes. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, perfect. Okay, so we got Questing Beast, and then a 1/1 Viper's nothing here, so let's minus.
My herd grows ever larger.
Cast Kogla. Get a creature that's 5 or less. What do we want here? So many good options. This can blow up the Conclave Tribunal. Let's go with the Midnight Reaper. Seems fine. Just draw a bunch of cards. Blow up their Seraph, and they have 2 1/1 blockers. We also get to draw a card thanks to Chevill and the Bounty Hunter. They give it Vigilance. That was a misclick, so they give it Deathtouch. That's fine. Get off the board. We have tons of value already on board. We're not too worried about that. I think we just attack all here. They don't have good blocks. We could take out the Paragon, but we're just to go crashing in for... they can't block the 4/4. They can't deal with Chevill, so they've got these 3/3s and 2/2s they could chump block. So they do take out the Paragon, but we're still getting in for a ton of damage. Put us down to 4. Draw a trophy. Just make a couple more tokens.
We are the apex predators.
So these Orzhov Taste decks are super grindy. But Golgari can grind with the best of them. And yeah, worked out for us there. Let's jump into one more. Golgari is definitely one of my favorite color combinations. There's so much value in it right now. All of the fantastic removal spells. And the versatility as well is great. Alright, up against Winota. This should be interesting. Obviously the nice thing about Winota in Brawl is there's no agent, since they can only stick with their own colors. So it's not an amazing opening hand, but we have a 1-drop into 2-drop here, so it's fine. Alright. I think we just, rather than trying to hold up the Blacklance, let's go ahead and play the Chevill just to get that on board. And then if we hold mana open next turn and flash this in, we can catch them off guard. Because if we shock in now and don't do anything, then that makes then they kind of wonder what's going on. I think we'll target the 10th Street. This can sacrifice, and this will get some benefits to dying. So I think the 10th Street is probably the best bet. Yeah, we'll just hold up the Blacklance Paragon, and the next turn we have Pelucanos. And as long as we keep drawing lands, just go ahead and cast it. If they want to use up a shock or something, that's fine. We'll just kind of continue to curve out and add to the board, and drawing these lands is beautiful. So yeah, we'll just play out our Pelucanos. We're missing white mana, so that's also good for us. We can start attacking in here. Especially now that we have our Pelucanos. It's kind of a way to fill up our graveyard in case they do deal with it at some point. Guess they can block with any of these, and they choose not to, so yeah. Try to put a little bit of a clock on them, since Boros is super aggressive. So we're still a turn away from getting too much value, but it's alright. Okay, so they choose not to activate 10th Street. Hackdos, though, is pretty brutal. So obviously we want to take out the 10th Street Dodger. Not sure, that was a bit of a mistake on their part to leave that open. So cool Sullivan can take out Chevill or Aracnir. You get to draw a card and gain some life, but Hackdos is pretty brutal. So we'll just go Cavalier here, I think. The Temple for the Scribe. So not finding our removal, so that's definitely not good for us. And they're putting counters. Yeah, I think they got this one, hitting the Winota, and 3 triggers, getting Hackdos, and this, to buffing up all their things. Yeah. Unfortunately, we just did not draw any removal whatsoever. So we do get the block there, because it does not have protection from 4. That's a little bit of a good thing. want to get that off the value off the board.
I need them gone.
Ceratops is good.
How sharp my axe is.
So we'll just drop our Castle Lockdwayne, and yeah, we just have to hold up and hope somehow we can find a way to crawl our way back into this. And the Cavalier is kind of the only thing that's keeping us in this game, really. So I think we just need to get more Deathtouch. Alright, so I'll make some wolves.
You're not scared of dogs, are you?
So play Chevill, we still have 4 mana open. We just want all the Deathtouch out as much as possible to give our opponent difficult decisions. Okay, they wipe our board, and all their creatures just get a ton of counters and are out of Clarion range. That was pretty kind of a perfect start from them, from being without white and mana. So yeah, Winota's still pretty overpowered. It's kind of funny. Even in a singleton format, they managed to hit like Hackdos and stuff like that. It's just like brutal. I mean, the Blue Knos was able to take it out, but yeah, that one that counters and all their creatures, like nobody even plays that, and that was just giving them so much value there. And then definitely Clarion wiped our board basically, and then give all their dudes lifelink. That's pretty. That sealed the deal. Of course, we didn't have any removal on our Golgari list. Sounds okay. I don't know about against Nethroi, but I think we'll try it. We just have the 4 lands and the nice mix of colors, so yeah. And Nethroi seems like a pretty cool commander as well, so we'll see how this goes. If our opponent's ever ready to play, there we go. So obviously lead on the tap land. And now we have options on 3. As of right now, we don't have anything to ramp into by playing the Paradise Druid, and there's no creatures for Chevill, but if they play something though, then that could be good. So let's go ahead and do that. So go ahead and get our commander online. If they want to deal with it, that's fine. Next turn we go Brontodon just to be on curve, and then turn 4 we can play both of our 2-drops. And then see about Vivian or Kogla the following turn. So they're missing their black mana, which is good. Fewer options for them. Pacifism on Chevill. That's totally okay. Of course I misplayed. Put the wrong land down like a dummy. That's alright. I'll go and drop the Paradise Druid then. We have the Glowstone Recluse. It's a 3 mana spell, so yeah, I think I'm fine with just Vraska in here. That's a pretty sweet draw. Destroy it. Draw a card. Thanks to Chevill. And I'm not going to have haste, so let's go ahead and swing in. They're missing black mana to kill it, and if they do kill it, it's not the worst since we already are up to 5 mana. We got a Cavalier, a Vivian ready to come down. Totally fine with the pacifism on Chevill here. And obviously it does have Deathtouch. Alright, so we have 6 mana if we want. Just Kogla. That seems pretty good. Go to the Knight. Try to keep their board clear. Obviously the nice thing about Nethroi is it does have the reanimation. Can get all these creatures back. We'll decline. Could Could sacrifice Chevill at some point just to get the pacifism off it, but we still have plenty of cards in hand, so no real reason to get that off the board. It'll still get its bounty trigger things going on. Alright, so unfortunately our opponent was stuck on lands there, but yeah, obviously once we get some removal spells in hand, this deck does fantastic. That second game, obviously, we did not have hardly any removal, and we suffered from it. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet deck. Definitely enjoyed. Let me know what you guys are running out there, if there's anything you want me to build around. I'm happy to see what I can do. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.